suggest. Why item? Item will talk about the event, the earthquake.
Okay, it's a good idea. Actually, it's a good idea. Then, since we have the Cemre and Görkem, we first of all get the information from them. Then we will continue with Carla, if it's okay, Cemre.
Not really, because I need to go in 50 minutes. It's
Then we will start to immediately.
Okay. It's up to you, Dilek. You can do whatever you want. If you want to start the questions, it is okay.
I think
my part.
I think we need to. I need to go now. Just as we talked before, I will be ready after 30 minutes. So I'm not going to be here. I just wanted to check in that if you already started or not. That's why.
Then we can do like that. Görkem Hanım will start and present to us if she is okay. Then we will continue with Carla and Kayakazi. Then at the end, we will get to your presentation and your information from your side. Is it okay for Görkem Hanım? Sesiniz kapalı ama.
Okay. I didn't open my voice. Sorry for that. No problem. I can start. But
Okay.
I will try to share.
You can share
my screen, but I couldn't find.
While we are finding for our guests, in February 6, 2020, we had a very big disaster in Turkey.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for that. Sorry for interrupting.
In Turkey, in 9 hours, 2 earthquakes struck, unfortunately, our country with about 7.6 magnitude, which is a very rare one, southeast part of the Turkey, which is a very rare one to these big strikes in 9 hours, almost in the world. And according to official figures, we lost more than 50,000 our people in this disaster. And many people will become the homeless, and the million of them still live in the temporary shelters. And unfortunately, it will be wrong to rank the victims in this disaster, but the living conditions, especially for the women and the children, cannot be ignored, and because of their special conditions, it's very hard for them this period. So, floor is yours, Görkem. One of the many people trying to support them, and one of them is the many companies, many organizations. One of them is the Siemens TÜRKİYE, and your floor is.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your opportunity. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. It's a very nice event. So I will start introduce myself. My name is Görkem Kızıltan Ustalı. I am a mechanical engineer with a postgraduate degree, and I have been working in HVAC industry, ventilation, air conditioning, heating systems. I have been working in this industry nearly 18 years. For 18 years, I have been working at Siemens 5 years. At the same time, as you said, Dilek, I am the leader of the Chamber of Mechanical Engineers at Kadıköy branches. So I have two hats in my hand. So today I would like to talk briefly about what kind of activities we have been doing, and also what we'll continue to do after earthquake, actually. So as I said, I will explain in my presentation in two parts. First part is about the Siemens activities, and the second part is the mechanical engineers chamber activities. In summary, I will share the information about the in two different organizations. So let's start with Siemens. According to official, as you know, according to official figures, we lost over 50,000 citizens. As a country, we still haven't been able to back to normal, actually, get over the sadness of this. I hope such a great disasters will never happen again anywhere in the world, actually. So first of all, I would like to start with, as I said, Siemens. Education is very important for Siemens. For years, for many years, we have been contributing to education of students via Turkish Educational Foundation, TEV, in Turkey. After the earthquake, we provided support especially for the female students who were affected by the earthquake, to heal wounds a little bit, actually. So it was our first action in this subject. So also you may know that youth employment campaign occurs, UTOL, via UTOL. We said that we are here. So youth employee campaign initiated by UTOL. This campaign aims bring together young people between the ages 18 and 35 who lost their families and homes or jobs in the earthquake area. So we support new employee, woman employee as a Siemens, and we also we started to around the world support the Siemens employees. We nearly collect 3.2 million euros, as I said, around the world, but they are Siemens employees. So this amount will be transferred to many different non-government organizations focused on women, education, children, and health. And let's say box happiness, actually we called kutu kutu mutluluk. As you know, we celebrate recently 23rd April, National Sovereignty and Children's Day. We delivered bags, bottles, and stationery, and containing some various toys to the children in the area of Hatay, Adıyaman, and Malatya earthquake zone. We reached 840 children. And also I will just say sentences about the SAKE. SAKE is the Siemens Turkey Research and Rescue Team. SAKE took action after the earthquake immediately and dedicated itself to search and rescue operations. Thanks to SAKE, at the end of the 102nd hour, we were very happy that they rescued one person from the earthquake area. So it makes us very happy. And also I will come to other section, second part, about the mechanical engineers chamber. UKDE Chamber of Mechanical Engineers. I will explain briefly what is mechanical engineer. The Chamber of Mechanical Engineer is one of the 24 principal chamber of engineering of the United of Chambers of Turkish Engineers and Architectures. It's a big organization actually. Mechanical Engineers Chamber, one of the belongs this organization, and one pieces of jackets, boots, and scarves, and so on. We prepare for kids to deliver it the earthquake area, and also nearly the same amount of the sanitary equipment or pieces, one pieces equipment delivered the earthquake zone. And mechanical engineer has in Istanbul has 2,500 members, women members. So we decided to make a gift our women members that we dedicated 5,000 women's hygienic kits prepare for women who live in an earthquake area. So we sent them to this area, earthquake area. And immediately after the earthquake on February, 5 trucks set off the towers to earthquake area zone. We also supported during the packing these aid materials as well. And sorry for it's Turkish, but I will translated it. But as you said, you give me first speech and then I didn't finish it. But it was a long journey actually. It wasn't finished. So as I said before, we will continue. We will never close eyes to this area, because it will our aim actually to support, because we are a close relationship with our citizens. So this is our aim to help this area. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support.
Thank you very much, Görkem. Thank you for hard work during all the peoples that we couldn't reach on behalf of you during the earthquake time, and after these good supports. We would like to support also to everyone about this one. And as you said, we couldn't close your eyes, and this is a long journey. We have to continue supporting all that people when the one that we can solve, I think, all the problems. Thank you very much. Thank you also the adapting to change of to this program, and sorry about this the rearrangement.
No problem. Just I was shocked. Sorry for my voice.
Thank you very much.
Excellent initiatives, Görkem. Congrats.
Welcome to everybody. Let me introduce you. Hi, Pranvera. Hi. Welcome, Kaya.
Hi, Pranvera. Hi, Kaya.
Let me start our panel about that one. Welcome to everybody again. After the Görkem's good presentation and the good explanation to us, We have actually in these 4 guests, one is the Görkem, the other one is the Cemre, that they will describe about the earthquake. The other 2 guests are the chairperson of the SIGRE WiE Global, the former chairperson of the SIGRE WiE Global, Kaya Dioka from the South Africa. And other guest was present, chairperson of SIGRE WiE Global, Solange, but unfortunately from Brazil. But unfortunately, Solange couldn't join us in today. Instead of her, Carla Damasco from SIGRE Brazil National Committee, Women in Energy convener, will share experiences of women in energy sector from Brazil with us. First of all, I would like to forward my thanks to all these successful and the inspiring women. They accepted our invitations and honored us. We will talk about 1 hour women in energy sector and again continue to earthquake regions, the improvements and the work done in here. Beginning of the panel, I would like to shortly introduce our guests, Kaya Dioka and Carla Damasco. Kaya is the corporate specialist for transformers and reactors at ESCOM. She holds a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering and MS in Engineering degrees, both from the University of Cape Town. She is registered professional engineer with the Engineering Council of South Africa. Kaya's primary focus is on transformer specifications, design reviews, factory capability assessment, factory acceptance tests, failure investigation, asset health appraisal, and technical support throughout the lifespan of transformer until end of the life. She also develops training on transformers and offers these to other employees. She is a member of the study committee, SIGRE study committee of A2, a convener of Transformer Technology Advisory Group and international chair for SIGRE Women in Energy for the period 2019 to 2022. She also served as the executive board member on SIGRE South Africa board as an honorary secretary. A2, she also contributed to the 3 chapters on Green Book, which we are using on the all our works on the transformer procurement. A2 55 working group on transformer life extension and has made several contributions to Paris session group discussions. She authorized and co-authorized several papers. She is also an editorial board member of SIGRE Electra magazine. Very good technical experience and background. And also she was awarded as SIGRE Women in Energy Award in Paris 2022 and runner-up for ESCOM Women for the year 2021. She is currently Vice President of IEEE, PAS Women in Power. She is passionate about women empowerment and I'm sure she is a very good mentor. She is mentoring many engineers, both male and female. Thank you, Kaya. And Carla Damasco Peksota. She is also electrical engineer at UFRJ, postgraduate in power systems at COPE, Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, MBA in people management at the LaTeX Universidad Federal Fluminense. She is consultant for high voltage underground lines, convener of the Women's Committee of the SIGRE Brazil, convener of the Customer Advisor Group and member of the Strategic Advisory Group and Tutorial Advisory Group, Study Committee B1, Insulated Chambers, SIGRE groups. Volunteer Director of SIGRA Brazil 2019 to 2023, and Senior Engineer at Energy Utility Light Services, the Elektricitat SA, working for 33 years in the implementation of the high voltage underground transmission lines in Rio de Janeiro. And this is a very good one. First woman in this company to be the head of infrastructure construction and electromechanical installation of these lines in the field. Thank you very much for joining us again. And I would like to ask my first questions to Kaya Kaza. Actually, we were planning this panel on the 17th of February this year. As an anniversary of the adaptation of Turkish law and granting some rights to women in 1926, which is given to us by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, founder of the Turkey. But unfortunately, this big disaster, as I mentioned, 6th of February, we have to postpone this, our panel, the organization, to today. Kaya, could you summarize the developments in your countries regarding the acceptance of men and the women as equal citizens and the acquisition of the right to vote?
Thank you very much, Dilek, and thank you and congratulations to your team for organizing this event. Against all odds, you actually made it happen. So thank you so much for that. And I'm really sorry about the recent activities, the disasters that have happened in your country. I wish you all the best as the country recovers. And we know the impact that these usually have on women specifically. So I really hope that the country will recover well, and you will restore all that has been lost as far as the infrastructure is concerned. Coming to your question, a very interesting one. So in South Africa, when we're looking at practices that see women as equal citizens, our constitution, which has been in place since 1996, post our first election, where everybody had the right to vote. So our constitution, it basically has a chapter that is dedicated to the Bill of Rights, and in that, everyone, and this is the emphasis. So it always talks about the rights of the citizens of the country, and that everyone, and then it becomes more specific to say, you have a right to vote, you have a right to infrastructure, to have a roof over your head. But it also goes as far as saying, everyone has the right to vote, including women. So you're not discriminated according to your gender. It even goes as far as saying, even if you've got a disability, even if you are pregnant as a woman, you have a right to vote. And so we are governed by our constitution, which basically protects women. It does not discriminate against women as far as our rights are concerned. And I can also even give you an example of when I voted about 14 years ago. I was actually heavily pregnant. It was a month before my daughter was born. And I got special treatment as a pregnant woman because I could vote the day before. And I've seen even now, if there's a pregnant woman on the queue, they get a preference to come to the front. You don't have to wait for too long. So there isn't much discrimination as far as voting is concerned, as far as our constitution, which is like the guidelines for the running of our democracy. So we have equal rights as women to vote and to participate in any activity within the country. Thank you. You're muted. You're still muted.
Sorry.
Dilek, we couldn't hear you because your voice is closed. Sorry. Thank you very much, Kaya. Could we learn the same in Brazil?
Okay. The first milestone in the struggle for women's right to vote in Brazil was proposed in 1891 Constitution, but unfortunately, it was rejected. In 1927, in the city Mossoró, in Rio Grande do Norte, the country's first woman elector, Celina Guimarães, was authorized to the state government to register her vote. But in 1930, Washington Luiz, at the end of his presidential term, instituted the right of vote for women, but in a very restricted way and with few practical effects. It was only in 1932 that during the government of President Getúlio Vargas, that finally the women's right to vote was established in Brazil through the decree number 21076, also known as the Quota Law. This law established that women had the right to vote under the same conditions as men, provided they are over 21 years old and were literate, only in 1932. Despite this important achievement, the political participation of women in Brazil still left many challenges over the following decades, including prejudice in gender prescription, few female representations in political positions, and political violence against women. Even today, the struggle for gender equality and the full and equal participation of women, not only in politics, but in STEM careers, is a relevant and current topic. May I share the numbers, Dilek?
Yes, please.
Are you seeing?
Yes, we can see.
So the right to vote, the dates here, and the politics Brazilian numbers. The Chamber of Deputies, I don't know if I'm pronounced correct, lower house, almost 19% of women against 81% of men. Senate, upper house, it decreased a little, almost 15% against 85% of men. It's few, but very significant. And I have the secret numbers. Do you want that I talk now? No, it's another question, I think.
Thank you, Carla. As we all know, there's a difference between the legal regulations and the practices. Even we have the vote in the legal regulations, in the practice, this is not the same. One of the sector where we can observe these differences is the energy sector, actually. One of the Turkish organization, Turkish Women Renewable Energy, TVRE, prepared one report about the gender equality in energy industry in last year, 2020. This report gives idea about the numbers in the energy sector about the women's. And according to this research, this is a very good research that can gather. Actually, we have the numbers with different the sources, but as a report, when we solve all the aspects and we specialize this energy, it gives some idea about the whole situations. And according to this research in Turkey, the female employment rate is in energy sector is only 15%. Do you have a figure or observation from your country that we can share to us, Kaya?
Yes, I actually have quite a number of figures, and I'll start by giving the total population of women. So in South Africa, we basically are about 51% female population. So we should be, you know, when we're occupying position, about 50-50, because that's like really about half. We are 1% higher. However, when it comes to an unemployment rate, it is more prevalent for women and youth. And the unemployment rate is about 35% for women only. And this is just addressing women. But if you come to, for instance, Eskom, which is the biggest utility in South Africa, and a good representation of the energy sector within South Africa. So we have the female workforce is about 34%. And there is goals to increase this to about 50% by 2026, which is in 3 years' time. So we were hoping we are going to raise this to about 50%. And that's because there's policies in place and there's targets, KPIs that are set to increase these numbers within Eskom. And so this is much easier when it comes to the state-owned entities, which Eskom is one of them. So the drive is clear and there's policies in place. But when it comes to the private sector, which is where most of the renewable energies and the rest of the energy sectors falls under, then the numbers are not the same. So you find much lower numbers. So according to the 2021 to 2025 Women Empowerment and Gender Equality Strategy for the energy sector, this is a report that comes from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy in South Africa. So it says, this report says that women only account for 20% of the workforce. This is in oil and gas industry. So you see all these variations depending on where you are at. But if you're just looking at electricity, for instance, within the energy sector, then we are looking at about 34% or so of the workforce. But now, what becomes more of a disparity, which is I think the biggest difference between you've got your policies, you've got your regulations, and what happens in practice. While that number is so high, and you've got women in certain positions, we have what is the biggest hindrance, and probably one that causes a lot of women not taking certain positions, and that for us is more of the gender pay gap. So you put policies in place to increase women at certain levels. If they are employed, yes, they are there. However, they're not getting paid the same amount as their male counterparts. And according to a report, we in South Africa, we number 123 out of 146 countries regarding the gender pay gap. So we've got like quite a huge gender pay gap. And the higher you go in managerial position, this is where this gender pay gap becomes an issue. So while we are chasing the numbers in terms of employment, get more women involved, get more women employed, what we are leaving behind is the equal salary. So for exactly the same job, and sometimes for even more work and effort put on the same job, you're not paying the female engineer equal to the female or rather the male engineer, even if the male engineer is doing lesser job or is even at a lower level than that of the female engineer. And it gets worse to those CIMS specialists, but for the senior managers who can even see their direct reports, and seeing that somebody that is reporting to you and you are accountable for them, they're actually earning more money than you do. It must be more devastating, but that's the reality in South Africa, and that's where these differences come in and are more prevalent for women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We hope that will change in shortest time, and the ESCOM will be the big one, the example for all the companies, including the employment, women employment, and the equal salaries for all countries, especially for South Africa. Thank you very much. What about the situation in the Brazil, Carla?
According to data from the annual energy balance report published by the Brazilian Ministry of Mines and Energy, the employment rate of women in the Brazilian energy sector has been increasing in recent years, but it remains low. In 2000, I don't have the figures, actual figures. In 2019, women represented only 20% of the total workforce in the sector, including electricity generation, transmission, distribution, oil and gas, and renewable energy, a median of 20%. However, the government and the private sector have been working to promote greater gender diversity and inclusion in the energy sector. In 2020, the Ministry of Mines and Energy launched the program named Energy with Equality Program, which aims to promote gender equality in the sector through initiatives such as training, development programs, mentoring, and awareness-raising campaigns. According to Renewable Energy and Jobs Annual Review 2021 report published by IRENA, in the renewable energy workforce in Latin America and the Caribbean region, which includes Brazil, it's a little higher. The new technologies, women are participating more. It's 32%. However, report does not provide country-specific data. I don't have my country data there. In addition, some energy companies in Brazil have established their own diversity and inclusion policies, including measures to increase the representation of women in leadership positions and to reduce gender-based discrimination in the workplace. These efforts are important to create a more equitable and inclusive energy sector in Brazil and to ensure that women have equal opportunities for career advancement and professional development. SIGRE has an important role stimulating and technically qualifying women, preparing them to participate and integrate to the energy sector. I have the numbers of SIGRE. If I could show. Thank you. Oh, sorry. The representative on the board of directors, we have one woman. Study convener, representatives in SIGRE International, 3. And 3 study committee conveners in Brazil. Brazil has 16 study committees like SIGRE International has. It's okay. And but I will not read everything. It is, you can see it later on. the number of women members in CINGRE is still low, 17% against 83% of men. Let me see. In leader position, we have only 3% in Brazilian National Committee. And member of the study committees, we have only 4, in spite of having 17 women participating in the leader position, only 3%, and participating actively in the study committees, only 4.
Thank you, Carla. I think these figures all show us what is the importance of the CINGRE Women in Energy, and we should work Women in Energy together much harder to increase the women in the energy sector. Another indicator of the presence of the women in the energy sector is the number of the women in the managing position. Unfortunately, we rarely see, as you tell to us, Carla, in the figures, women in decision-making position is the very low. If we go back to the TWR research again, in Turkey, TÜRKİYE is the rate of the female managers is only the 4%. Even the number is the 15% as a whole working women. Could you tell us the situations in your country, Kaya?
Thank you, Dilek. Just before I answer that question, I would like to make a comment on the need for CINGRE Women in Energy or any forums like this before, because this is what happens when you see the 34%, which I had indicated for ESCOM, that there is that workforce with the need to increase it to 50%. The drive behind it is actually within HR, where we have what we call ESCOM Women Advancement Program. So you need to be conscious about advancing women in all these positions and have targets that you set for yourself as an organization. So which is why we have forums like this. We're trying to ensure that we're improving all these numbers, and we might be hitting some teething stages where other organizations are struggling at the beginning, but we should not stop at this point. This is where we actually need to be vocal. We need to make a change at the table. When we are involved in these strategies, we need to ensure that we're actually looking out to increase the number of women participation in all our organizations, wherever you are, not just CINGRE, but even from your work company. So that's very important. Coming to your question, so I might have indicated, that Department of Mineral Resource and Energy report that was published on women empowerment and gender equality. So according to that report, so if you are looking at, I had reported a 20% workforce in oil and gas. So from that report, as far as the energy sector is concerned, there is a decline as you increase the level. So up to the senior management, it basically drops from 25% to 17% between middle management and senior and leadership career stages. So there is a drop across board. However, going back to ESCOM as the utility in South Africa, the picture is totally different. So the figures at ESCOM, if you are looking at from middle management to senior management, we are actually sitting at 40 to 44% of women occupying positions at senior level and middle management, from middle management to senior management. And senior management is actually sitting at 44%, while middle management is sitting at around 41%. So there is a higher number of women occupying positions at those levels. And this is due to what I had initially mentioned, to say there is a specific drive to increase women participation at all levels, and you have to set targets for yourself. Sometimes when our group executive for HR, sets these numbers, you're like thinking, how are you gonna get there? But it's easy. Find the women. They are there. They're already doing the job. So find them and put them in those positions, because by the virtue of you having been to the university and you are an engineer, that's the first thing. Why are you not getting the position to do that? You've been in the company for 10 years. Why are you still sitting at a much lower level? So that's the strategy. Find them and expose them to these opportunities. Take them out of that comfort zone. Take them out of where they're sometimes hidden under certain leadership that really does not see women to be occupying such position. Take them out of that, empower them, and ensure that they occupy those positions. So the increase from middle management to senior management, especially within ESCOM, is due to that active drive to actually increase those numbers. So we are currently sitting at 40 to 44%, and that's actually much higher than even at lower levels, as far as the technical levels are concerned in ESCOM. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaya. I think we show the success and the profit of the ESCOM to hold the world with the that much women. Then the most encouragement point it will be that one.
Yeah.
When you empower women and employ the woman, then you will get more success and more profit about that one.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Yes, Carla. We would like to listen about the also situation in Brazil.
It's not so different. Data on the composition of the energy section by gender in Brazil is not easily available, as I said before. It's difficult to find official statistics or studies that provide a comprehensive analysis of gender diversity. However, some reports and initiatives have highlighted the underrepresentation of women in the industry and the need for greater gender diversity and inclusion. According to the survey conducted by the Brazilian Association of Infrastructure and Basic Industries in 2020, women in decision-making positions represented around 6% of the total workforce in the energy sector, which includes electricity generation, transmission, distribution, oil, gas, and renewables. The figure numbers I have showed before, we have only 3% in leader positions at the board of director and 4% at the study committees conveners. To address these issues, some companies in the energy sector in Brazil have implemented diversity and inclusion policies, as I have said, including initiatives to increase the representation of women, like Kaya said, in leader positions and to promote gender equality in the workplace. There is a great initiative from SIGRE, Women in Energy Chair, Solange Davi, starting in Brazil, the Women Writing Energy Program, together with together with me, consisting in meetings in the Brazilian companies, showing the importance of encouraging their women team to write technical article for SIGRE events. In that way, and consequently, we will empower them better, to stimulate them to write, stimulate to develop with benefits to their career, company, country, and the country energy sector itself.
Thank you very much, Carla. As an experienced employee of the energy sector, I'm also curious about your personal experiences. Do you think your gender has an effect on your working life, or do you think there is a gender discrimination in energy sector? For example, do you think a distinction is made according to gender, such as field or office engineer. Kaya.
Yeah. You see, this one is it's very interesting for me because firstly, you know, I'm an engineer. I spend most of my time in, I think, over 90% of my outputs are office-based. However, because I'm a specialist, some of my outputs require that I go out there to the field, and sometimes I go to factories, and this is where I actually see the discrimination, the distinction that, here's a female, what does she know? How can this be the technical representative that's coming out here to give direction? They're always asking for, so who are you with? And if I take a young male engineer with me to teach him the job, they basically assume that he's the one who is leading that particular job. So those are the kind of things that I experience. And I think the most common one for me, people that have not met me, the obvious one is when I'm being addressed as on email, good day, Mr. Dioga. I find it very funny because firstly, I'm thinking my husband is also an engineer, so I could happily send this email to him if we were doing the same thing. So they address me as Mr. Dioga, or even worse, the most recent one, these two examples that I want to share. The other one was someone asked me a question, but when he had realized, and you could see the shock from, the call, when he realized that firstly the voice on the other side is a female voice, then he said, I don't think you'll be able to answer this, but I don't know how much is your knowledge on these specification. Now, I am the author of the specification. This person is referencing a colleague of mine that we work together and saying, he doesn't think I'm the right person to answer this. And I'm like thinking, look, that's, what is the question? Let's address the actual question. And then just so, by the way, my name is there on that specification that you are referencing. So you would notice that I'm actually responsible for it. But the most one that I experienced, I recently traveled to another country for my technical work. But when I got there, I got the sense that there was a bit of disrespect. I don't know what was the expectation because I am the female engineer, and because there was a quality person who was the maid. When we introduce ourselves, and this is the technical specialist, and I am the technical specialist, firstly, the eyebrows are raised that now the technical guys are going to have to be answering to the technical specialist who is the woman, and the male is actually the quality person. And so that's the first one. And then, but where I felt a bit of a disrespect is when they were trying to convince me that some of my observations, something that I have observed, which should not be there, and it should not, as far as the process that I was checking for technical content, it should not be. Then they tried to convince me that it is part of this technical solution. And I was like, what do you think ESCOM sent here? A personal assistant to do a technical evaluation, because now they were they were even passionate about explaining how something is supposed to be part of the process. It's like saying tea is supposed to be part of a process in manufacturing transformers. And I'm like, how about moisture? How about, So then that's when I was really, I had to sit them down and say, we should not disrespect each other. And we should also act very professional here. I don't know what you think, my company would send someone this far, and it's a personal assistant to check for technical, information and do a technical evaluation. And then they later on made comments about how, I actually know so much in my field. And I thought to myself, what kind of what did you expect? Did you think, what did you really think? Maybe some, a trainee or something like that. So for me, this is one of the things that I experience every day, and I like to share it with the young ones, especially upcoming young engineers. Why? Because they should not, it should not deter them from their goals. We encounter this, but the more we are visible, the more we do our jobs to the best of our ability, we are changing the status quo. What we are showing is actually that engineer is not key engineer. So instead of maybe addressing me as good day, Mr. Dioka, you should just address me as good day, Engineer Dioka. And in that, you're just saving yourself from embarrassing yourself when you see me for the first time and you realize that I'm actually not Mr. Dioka. So this is something that we need to be talking more about it when we having our mentorship sessions, and ensure that we have people like myself that have a bit of both experience, you know, in the field, in office, to bring out the reality and you know, of a female engineer, depending on what route you take within the energy sector. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kaya. I would like to see the person, disrespect person, when you realize the name on the card is the same as the name on the standards. This is the best answer to disrespect.
Yes.
Person, I think. That's one. And I'm sure you're a very good example as the mentor for the young engineers. These experiences are very valuable, and your directions will be very valuable for them. Thank you very much. And also, one beginning of the discussions, chats, Carla, you have many experiences about that.
Yes, as I worked 33 years directly in the site, it was very hard, very hard. All the things Kaya said to us, all the things, it happens the same way with me. And I would like to say about, as Kaya has said about his experience, I would like to mention my first experience was terrible, but I remain with focus. That's what I would like to pass to the young engineer that are listen to us. Yes, it affects directly this question, this gender issue, my working life, mainly because working in a site, as I have said, in charge of high voltage transmission lines, the civil work and the electromechanical work, and later also the previous phase, like feasibility study, design, environmental license, bidding process of these lines. The biggest challenge were to be listened, to deal with gender inequality in communication, like the behavior that all we know, the behavior of men explaining. Men explaining, it has a name, this behavior. Tendency of men to explain something to us in a condescending or patronizing manner, even when the woman is already familiar with the topic or more knowledge than the man, like Dioka said. I never forget when I was hired at the utility company, my first job, and my first in 33 years job. In the first day, the man took a book, point out an insulator image, and talked to me. This is an insulator. Oh, yes, this is an insulator. So he explained the obvious. And there's another behavior, men interrupting women when they are speaking, often without realizing or even intending to do so. They do it automatically, implying that men's voice and opinions are more important or valuable, sometimes cultural. These barriers and another ones were faced by me as challenges. Personally, I like challenges and good opportunity to continuously develop and improve my knowledge. WiE Brazil has taken important role in this issue, giving me the opportunity, as I'm a member of WiE since 1998, to participate with international expert network and taking part of study working groups. So there were challenges. Oh, never mind, let's study more to get our expertise. And then, like Dioka said, the pattern is written, her name was there, and everybody has to respect. I think so. But I have to say something. I have experience. Unfortunately, the only man that was here, he left. Celine, I don't know. If I have faced I have faced too. Some excellent and inspired men, not only the difficult ones. In a small number, it's true, but they have believed in my potential and support me sometimes. My first department manager said to me, Carla, go there at the site, try to understand everything, study. I would not like that you became, how can I say, a shadow of a man. No, please. Take your time, study, and you'll be in the first place. So this was a message, an advice that a man gave to me. So it exists, excellent and inspiring men too. I would like to show a picture with the workforce. I was alone. 3 months before the Olympic Games, there was an issue, and we are detecting partial discharge in the GIS, high voltage GIS, 138 kV, and we are facing partial discharge. And we stay in the weekend trying to find what the solution of this. And this team was together with me. I'm the only woman. The workforce accept me as in the first, when you did not arrive in the first minutes of this forum, I have told to Dilek and Aitan, the workforce accept me. They respect me a lot. But the engineers, the managers, not so much. It was a very good experience in the Olympic substation in Rio de Janeiro, and the energy did not stop during the games. That's a good experience I have.
Thank you, Carla. I think we have to support also the men that supporting the women, especially the young women in our sector. This is the best way to support each other. There are many young engineers, female engineers listening to us, and later on they will follow up these presentations, these panels from the YouTube. I think they can, no, I don't, I think, I'm sure they can, they inspire from you. So, beginning of your career, did you experience a process related to acceptance, prejudice, self-province, something like that? If you give us some examples, some ideas about that, it will be great. Kaya?
I think the answer for all engineers is yes, especially female engineers. You always experience this. And I must also add that I was amongst the most fortunate young female engineers in my time, where there were people around me who directed me, even when they didn't know what to do with me. I had so much energy, and I was an engineer, and I didn't like most of the things they wanted me to do as a young engineer. So I directed my own path. So I put together my own training program. And I asked engineers, experienced engineers, I asked who's a specialist in this company, that's somebody that I would like to talk to. So I was very young, knew little about, all these parts that I'm supposed to take. There's a managerial level, there's a specialist one, but if there's one thing that I always had in mind was that I want to be a specialist. And so when I started working, I found people that were not necessarily within my immediate environment. They were outside of my immediate environment, but still within the organization, who actually mentored me and helped me to develop as an engineer. And as a result, I kind of like, managed to ignore a lot of prejudice because I was focused. I had a goal and I had things to tick off. And I was also very vocal, which is what I would like for young engineers. When you join an organization, know what you want, and also get a mentor and somebody that's going to help you, redirect your path to say, are you on the right path? And if you are not, these are, ways to get to where you would like to be. Somebody that's going to direct you basically and develop you and has in your interest at heart. And so basically for me, while there were processes in place to say, yes, engineers need to train and do this for the first 2 years. Firstly, I cut that to 1 year, because I told them I already have done my master's in engineering. That's already an added advantage in my experience. So they needed to employ me within a year of my training permanently at a certain position, not as an engineer in training. And that required me to actually write up motivations why I should have my training program cut short. But when I am employed, these are the kind of things I would like to do to develop myself. So I can safely say that in a way, I joined an organization that was welcoming and also accommodated my energy, which is what I always had. And I managed to basically grow as an engineer. And because of that, I'm very passionate about young engineers, and this is both male and females. When they come in, I'm interested to know what is it that they are doing, how is their training going. I mean, recently I had mentioned, I think in my CV, that I give training to like other engineers on transformers and all that. So in one of the courses I was offering, I asked people their background. I was saddened to find that one of the young engineers had been an engineer in training, but had been sitting in one position, not doing what you're supposed to do as an engineer when you are training. And I immediately had to contact the manager for that to say, we need to develop a program, and this is the kind of training as somebody that has a degree from the university, this is where we need to be looking into. And they were both appreciative of that input. And I offered myself to mentor that engineer. So we need to be, now that we've had our experiences and we also know how difficult it is when you enter the industry, we need to put ourselves out there and actually help the ones that are coming in, and we develop them and ensure that also they are the owners of their own development, because you can only take someone by hand up to so much. So you need to instill in them that you are responsible for your own development. Otherwise, if I was responsible for all the engineers' development, I would make all of them to be specialists, but not everybody wants to be a specialist. But I can still mentor somebody to achieve what they wish to achieve within the energy sector. So that's basically my experience, more of a driven by myself to be where I would like to be. And I had the environment that embraced me as me, and also, you know, managed to accommodate me with all my anomalies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaya. I think good advice when you look at your current position and current expertise about that one. Yes, Carla, we would like to hear your experience, first experiences also.
My first internship attempt as an electrical engineering student was in the naval area. The human resource professional of the company looked at me, the first interview, and said, "What a woman is doing here." At first, I became very angry, but after I said, "Never mind, next time I'll study more." The second attempt was at a home electric appliance factory. In the first 10 days of work, the manager made sexual insinuations, and I preferred to quit immediately. Despite of that, I never gave up and studied more. In the third attempt, I was very happy that in a project consulting company, in the final interview, only two persons, a man and a woman, and the manager chose me. Oh my God, lucky? No, not lucky, it's a study. But while working in this company, I have passed in a test to be an intern at a power utility company. And it was a good experience too. But as this first utility did not have a program to engineering hiring, not have a process, it was indication. I don't have anyone to indicate me. So I try another one and passed in the fourth position at this time in a test for an electrical engineer, and the recruiter, worried about my gender, let me choose in the first place. I got the fourth position, but I choose first among the offered positions. The lessons I have learned is never give up, invest on continuous knowledge, and transform challenge barriers into good opportunities to improve yourself. And the target is not to fight, but bring the man. Sorry, I have to read. But bring the men together. Remember that women and men have different and complementary skills. And the joining of it leads to a better team work and excellent and faster work results. Everyone wins in this case, men and women.
Thank you very much. The best advice, I think, we are together more stronger, man and the woman all together. And finally, I would like to get your final words about your suggestion for ensuring gender equality in the energy sector. Kaya?
Yes, so you know, with this one, I can never overemphasize the need for consciously trying to incorporate, you know, gender equality in all processes, in all policies within our organizations. And forums like Single Women in Energy, or any forum within the organization that drives this goal of gender equality is of importance, because your focus, you're looking at numbers, you are saying, why are they not there? Why do we not have women at that table? Why do we have less representation at a specific technical forum? Why do we? So what you are doing is you are coming up with ways of how to increase active participation of women, because you are there and you're consciously looking at the numbers. So it needs to be a conscious drive from us in our organizations, wherever we are. And also as women that are already in the energy sector, we actually need to be visible. We need to have mentorship sessions, because we cannot afford to have this attrition of women that have already joined the energy sector, but because the environment is not conducive for them, we're not keeping them in the environment. And therefore we end up losing them, even though they were our best students at the university, in engineering for that matter, but we end up losing them in the energy sector because the environment is really not conducive. All our experiences are supposed to translate into different ways of doing things in order to change the environment and make sure that it is conducive for young women in the energy sector. So we need to be more visible, and we need to mentor other women and also keep the energy amongst ourselves. Even the most experienced ones, we also get tired. I mean, you can imagine in my field that every time it's like I'm being questioned, that time I've got so much experience. So it gets tiring that other days you are thinking, is it even worth it? But remember, the ones that are coming up are looking up to you. We are not going to change the status quo by getting ourselves out of it. We're going to change it by staying in and implementing those changes and ensuring that they are actually implemented in practice. It's not just a policy that is not followed practically. So that's basically, I think that's all I can share for now. There is so much I can share, but I think us working together in sessions like this, they also help in trying to bring up that active participation of women in the energy sector. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much also. Carla, may I get your final words?
Yes, I repeat something, but I would like to share a picture. It's the last one, I promise. Very quickly. Can we help?
Yes, we can.
Helping each other. Only that. The focus, I will repeat again. Nothing defines or limits a woman. We have freedom to do anything we want. Invest in continuous knowledge. Transform barriers into your opportunity to improve yourself. If you cannot pass through a barrier at the first time, try again. Try another one. And again, until you have success. And finally, remember, together, women and men are stronger. Remember that Sigrid could help as a source of exchanging knowledge from experts all around the world. Good technical documents with best practice and recommendations. And encourage and support girls and women to pursue STEM education and careers in the energy sector through programs such as mentorship, scholar, like Kaya said, internship and training opportunities. Go to academy and present technical material to the students and show Sigrid best practice on this. One time I went to a university attending an invitation from a professor to show about lines, underground lines, and I inspired the women. Many years after, a young engineer said to me, I remain in the engineering career because you inspired me when you gave the presentation. I see it's possible a woman reach there. It's possible. So this feedback was very good to me. Implement and enforce gender equality policy and practice in the workplace, including equal pay for, like Kaya said in the first beginning, equal pay for equal work, flexible work arrangements, family-friendly policies, zero tolerance for sexual harassment and discrimination. Make men aware of their common behavior, generating inequality between gender. Like I have said, the men explaining, men interrupt. Sometimes they did not know that they are doing that. Promote gender diverse and inclusion in leadership positions in the energy sector through initiatives such as a leadership development, programs, mentoring, sponsorships. Again, collect and analyze data on gender diversity and inclusion in the energy sector to better understand the difficulties and opportunities for gender equality, and try to track progress over time. Raise awareness and advocate for gender equality through public campaigns, media outreach, and partnerships with civil society organizations and other stakeholders. Create safe and inclusive space for women to share their experience and ideas. Network events, support groups, and other forums, like Sigrid does since 2014 with the Women in the Energy Forum, and Sigrid Brazil does it since 2017. These actions could help to create a more gender diversity and inclusive energy sector where women have equal opportunities to contribute, succeed, and lead. Finally, would like to mention the famous phrase attributed to Pythagoras, the Greek philosopher. I know everyone know about him. The Greek philosopher, mathematician, this is difficult, and spiritual leader who lived from around 570 before Christ. He said, the universe is the harmony of opposites. Thank you for the opportunity, Dilek. Thank you, Kaya, for all the the knowledge in women in energy you have passed to me, the opportunities of interview that was published in Elettra. I really appreciate when you were a leader of women in energy. Also great. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carla. Thank you very much, Kayakazi. Accepted our invitations, shared your experiences. I think the most beautiful one is to bring you to such a inspiring, such a strong, hardworking women to screens, to more visible, then inspire the more young engineers and support them about their ideas. They can achieve everything about that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before closing our panel, I would like to give the floor to Cemre to describe about what is done in our big earthquake by the TWRE and the Green Collar Woman, and she will share some experiences.
Thank you, Dilek. It's so nice to be with you all again. Thank you for organizing this beautiful event, Dilek. So nice to hear your insights. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have a brief presentation. I'm not gonna hold too much on the first slides, but in short, actually, I think you know, because we already met. I'm not going to get into too much details in what we are and who we are, but in short, we are now NGO, and our name is Green Collar Women Association. And after last year, we became an NGO. We can move on from this slide. Thank you. So basically, we work on these areas. I'm sorry about the Turkish text, by the way. It's going to be renewed after a short period of time. So, of course, we work in gender equality, in STEM areas, and, of course, women empowerment and their employment in the energy sector. We can move. The next slides. We can move from the slides as well. From this one, yes, we can stay here. So what we have done actually in the this disaster in earthquake, actually we didn't know about how we react about these kind of disasters. That was our weakness, because we didn't take any trainings about this. So in these kind of situations, you just freeze and you don't know what to do. But after a short period of time, we founded a coordination WhatsApp group, and we decided to coordinate all these affected cities. And because coordination, as also Görkem nicely put it, coordination and integration was missing in this whole incident. So basically what we did as a Green Collar Women's Association, we quickly ensured the arrival and coordination of a significant number of people with technical knowledge to help with rescue efforts in all affected provinces, including Adıyaman, Hatay, Iskenderun, Kahramanmaraş, and needs were accurately identified. We conveyed to the relevant institutions, including AFAD, and communication. We established a communication center. So teams and heavy machinery were provided to AFAD and the other related groups, and assistance was sent to people trapped under the rubble. Food aid trucks were dispatched upon confirmation of incoming calls, and accurate information was shared with earthquake victims and those in need with the help of our members. And of course, donations were collected and from renewable energy companies especially, and aid truck shipments were sent to the region, including solar systems, charging units, modified inverters and batteries. And of course, we contribute to the effective delivery of aid to the region through coordination and logistic of cranes and containers arriving in the area with the help of our beloved members. So first, if we were to give some numbers, of course, first we with the coordination team, 24 volunteers quickly escalated our numbers to 200 people, I guess. We organized the delivery of 332 containers to the locations directed by AFAD. Of course, all dependent on donations. We provided logistic support for dispatch of 422 people from the region of different regions. We supplied 6 generators, 8 solar lighting kits, and we sent aid to the region in line with the needs. We can move on from this slide. So this was another site visit we've done. We've concluded with actually German Chamber of Commerce. We didn't stay there, but we visited all the necessary sites and 7 site camps. And what we done here, of course, first we went to the Adıyaman, and we visited the tent city number 7 there. And of course, we saw the Women's Cooperatives workshop established by the Minister of Family and Social Services for earthquake victims. Women are here. It was a really good experience. Women are learning skills from masters in glasswork, sewing, and drawing, printing, as well as supplying local needs such as linens and towels. There are also women who came to help neighboring provinces. So here we talked with everyone, and we can stay here. We can stay here. So basically, before this slide, we can go there. As I should also highlight this, they have still container problems, hygiene problems, as also Görkem put it. They need psychologists, and psychologists need psychologists too. I should say this because they are also torn between what to do, and they're still progressing with this situation. So after that, we also saw the Adıyaman Chamber of Commerce. We visited them in their container because Adıyaman was totally collapsed, I would say, as was not nicely broadcast in the TV. So we had our meetings there. Then what we were going to do as future projects. So we have a team piled of our members. I am also working as a project team leader there. We constantly check the funds, and we actually submitted our first fund for gender equality and earthquake for French embassy. We can move on to other slides. So we will be continue to. This was our first application, which is basically gender. They aiming to the women affected by the earthquake. So I actually invite you here with these kinds of projects. I don't know if you're ever interested, but we can be a partner with these kinds of European Union projects or Horizon projects if you are interested. it would be really nice that we build a consortium related to these topics, because still it's very much in progress. With those, and the hubs were not actually finished in that sense. So basically, what I was going to tell and explain what we have done is this. We can just stop here because the other slides, actually the other projects related to our association. So thank you for listening. As I said, I invite you to, after your beautiful speech, maybe we can just build a new partnership out of this, and we can do something together, because they really care about partnership in this sense, and maybe we can collaborate in future projects like this. Thank you for listening, May.
Thank you very much, Cemre. Hope we will continue such projects for the victims and the